2015, and Joe, our youngest grandson, has never shot a bear, and so we're going over to Hell's Canyon and see if we can find a bear. Hell's Canyon brags to be the deepest canyon in the northern hemisphere, so we'll make the 400-mile journey over there, and then we'll backpack into the canyon. We go past poplar trees along the Columbia River, and then we switch off to a smaller 2-lane highway and go down till we come to the Snake River. We go through a little tunnel on the way up to Trails End, where we'll park our car, strap our packs on, and it'll be 1 foot in front of the other from there on up into the canyon. We go right to the river's edge, and then we'll hike along the river for a ways, and then we start climbing the walls of Hell's Canyon. We're almost to the spot where we're going to park by now. The paved road turns to a 2-track gravel road, and then we're there. We strap on our packs, check the wilderness sign. There are no applications there for wilderness permits, and then we start our hike. A kind of a rugged trail right up along the Snake River. We're keeping that all-important eye out for a rattlesnake, and we finally see a snake, but it's one of the non-venomous Great Basin gopher snakes. They're a constrictor, so they don't need venom, so they're harmless, but they look a little like a rattlesnake at first. After we saw this Great Basin gopher, Joe went ahead a little bit and found 2 rattlesnakes laying right on the trail. He backed off, and when I got there, they were both gone, but we could hear one of them rattling down in the rocks. We've left the river by now, and we're starting our climb up Hell's Canyon. We get up to an area and find darkness setting on us.
He's hurt.
So we camp that.
You got him, huh?
I shot him in the neck.
Yeah, good. He's over in that patch of brush.
Or the shoulder. Then we're in the neck shoulder area. He's hurting pretty bad.
Yeah, he's got to be, or you wouldn't have. There's Joe's old bear piled up right in the thicket.
After spending the night up on a rim above the river, we got up early the next morning and spotted a bear. Joe took a single shot, and Joe's got his first bear. He was a little reluctant to go in the brush. I watched in case the bear would come out and sent Joe around to find him. Finally, he did go in the brush, and there was a bear. That single shot he made was good, and he got him. We take a look at those huge, powerful paws. They could rip anything open. And it's a medium to large size black bear, and it's the boar, or the male. Now the work begins. We have to try to roll this bear into a spot where it's flat enough to skin, and we really couldn't find a decent open spot, and the bear was so big we couldn't carry it, and so we just had to make the best out of skinning it where we were. Every time I'd start skinning, I'd move a little bit and slide down the hill. But after some persistence, we finally got the bear skinned out, and what a nice hide. We finally got it to where we could hang it up in a little tree right next to where we were. We got it up in the tree, and now we can skin it a little more easily as Joe goes after it. We worked till we almost totally exhausted ourselves, and we used up all of our water, and the sun was getting low in the sky when we finished skinning it, since it was in such a difficult place. But we finally got it done, got it hung in a tree, and now it's time for us to go get some water. The water supply we're after, we hope, hasn't dried up this year. It's a tiny seep spring. I bring a little piece of pipe and we shove it in the seep spring, and then we put a jug under it and fill the jug with nice cold spring water. And wow, was that nice. Now that we've got water, we'll go up about to bench level and camp for the night. We had to climb a ways from where we got the bear, but not too far. Then Joe gets the water in the cooking pan, and we'll soon have dinner. While Joe's cooking, I set the tent up under an old plum tree right up next to the bench. And then a rough grouse is in the tree. By now, morning came in a hurry, and it's time for us to go back down and load that bear up. The weather's getting kind of warm, and that bear meat just won't stand much warm weather. So we've got to pack it out and do it right away. It sort of shortened our trip getting that bear, but that's a very nice bear. Now we've got our camp gear and the bear hide and all the meat in our packs, and wow, is it heavy. But somehow we made it down to Trails Inn. Then we're going to take a little drive and see if we can see a deer. First we go down to a spot, and Joe climbs up in a tree and gets a few grapes that the bear haven't got. The grapes are just growing all over the trees and the hillside and every place. I think these were probably planted by the moonshiners way back when, and so they've just gone wild, but they still produce just excellent fruit. So we loaded up on some fruit, and then we're going to get in the vehicle and drive around a little bit this evening and see if we can be lucky enough to spot a deer. We had to go to town and get ice to pack the bear in and the bear hide. And on our way through, we go down the little dirt road past an old mining village, and then we see some wild turkeys right in front of one of the old houses at this mining village. They're just going about their business of being turkeys. Turkeys have got to be the ficklest type of wildlife there is out there, and so they're cautiously grazing around this old mining village, minding their own business. One of those would sure be nice for Thanksgiving, though, but I don't know what the season is or what the rules are on it. We're not turkey hunters. Then we see a few mule deer making their way back into the timber right ahead of us. We have deer tags as well, and season's open, so we'll check them out and see if there's a buck. But I don't see anything but just some big floppy doe ears. She stands real still with that eyeball peeking through the needles of a ponderosa at us, and occasionally flopping an ear. It looks to be an old doe and her little old fawn. No monster bucks here. It looks to me like we might be eating bear meat and no deer meat. As this old doe takes her little fawn and disappears up in the pine forest of northeast Oregon. We find another old doe just grazing along. She's having a little bit of something to eat off a little elderberry tree, and then she'll wander back and disappear into the alpine firs that we see ahead of us, like little church steeples reaching skyward in the higher elevation. And that doesn't mean there aren't deer here, 'cause we sure saw several deer. But none of the deer had the required antlers like we need. Had we not got the bear, we could have surely got a big buck over in Hell's Canyon. Then we go down to the river to camp again after we got our ice, and what do we see but there were 2 baby skunks down here, right where we were going to camp, just galloping down the road. Every now and then they'd stick their tail in the air and sort of rear up, and I guess they were saying, "Hey guys, don't mess with me, I'm not kidding. I'll let you have it if I have to." So we set our camp up under a big mulberry tree, and that night the baby skunks came and pawed at the tent wanting in, but Joe didn't think they were welcome. And then during the night we heard a bear come in and make a couple little sounds, and then he started clicking his teeth together. I guess he was saying, "Don't mess with me." The next morning we went out, and there's his tracks, and he's a real decent sized bear. I guess we'd have had a wrestling match if he'd have got in the tent. I don't know how I am at wrestling bear anymore. We'll check the size of his paw print, and then we'll gather up our tent and load up, and we're getting ready to head back home. After we load our tent up and get the bear all loaded up, we're ready to go. And what do we see but another old doe deer, and she'd just soon stand and look at us. As we move out and chart a course toward home, she's sure chewing away. We find a wild apple tree, and Joe acts like a bear and goes up in the tree and picks us some apples. They'll be good to eat on the way home. Near the apple tree, we again spot a nice big bear. There were just bear all over the place over there. Had we wanted another bear, it probably wouldn't have been that difficult to get one. One greasy old bear is plenty though, but I'll have to say one thing about this bear. When we cooked it, that was the best eaten bear we've ever had. It was just excellent steak. And it will make Joe an excellent rug because it had real nice fur on it and just a real nice hide. And it's just exactly the right size for him to hang on the wall. So we're busy making a rug for Joe.